if this is your first time watching this video, especially if I gave you the link and sent you to it, watch the whole thing. Alright, so recently, pretty much almost all of my posts have been just some of my practice for boxing, like boom, boom, and I'm doing some Wing Chun, and I'm just doing a couple basic things kind of over and over. Well, that's not all the training I do. Admittedly, I do a lot less training than I used to. I only train about an hour or two, maybe 5-6 days a week if I'm lucky and I have the time. But there's a lot that I train off camera, or sometimes I record it and just don't post it, and I just use it for myself. Save it on my OneDrive and delete it from my phone to save space. But the more observant people, I don't know if they've noticed yet because I don't think anyone's spoken up, but the more observant and experienced martial artists, instead of criticizing every little thing I do, what they would be noticing is that I have a bunch of influence from things outside of boxing and Wing Chun. For example, this is not boxing. This is Taekwondo. But I use it for boxing, and it works just fine. The way that my feet are positioned and the way that I'm shifting my weight and bouncing is much more Taekwondo than it is boxing. It's really just the fact that this knee is turned in more that makes it kind of boxing. So right off the bat, I'm already using footwork that is outside of boxing, and I haven't really done a lot of footwork. I'm trying to gain weight, I'm trying not to burn a lot of calories, I'm trying to just build my punching form, a little bit of my reflexes, and a little bit of my mobility. That's really it. So when you tell me I'm not looking like a pro, thank you for noticing my obvious goal at the moment. And so far I've only had like maybe 2 or 3 out of like 20 to 30 people actually point out something that objectively I was truly doing wrong. Like, when I'm doing my boxing, only one person actually said, my elbows were out too wide and I gotta bring them in a little bit. I said, thanks. That guy was really nice. Yusuf, you're a cool guy. But when people are jumping to conclusions and just trying to flex because they're doom scrolling and they're just trying to like pick targets they can try and pick apart because they're feeling like crap about themselves, and it's obvious because they don't have profile pictures or content, like, get your head on straight, please. So I'm going to show and break down a little bit of what my goals are and who I think I am. So for one, when it comes to boxing, the only techniques I'm really trying to perfect right now is the jab, the 1-2, 1-2-3, and the overhand. That's it. Those are the only strikes I'm trying to perfect from boxing right now. And other strikes, I'm trying to do like Sistema. That's a combination of Sistema and boxing. Sometimes, depending on how you do it, it can be called a gazelle hook, but I do it very loosely and it's at a different angle. The gazelle hook, I think, is more like kind of tight and more explosive with the body. But I do it kind of like this, where it's a ballistic strike, shooting the hand out. Or I do the overhand ballistic because it goes really well with practicing my overhand in boxing. And I do practice stuff from this side, but that stuff I'm going to keep a secret for now. So only my orthodox stance stuff that I'm doing right now is going to be covered in this video. The rest is a mystery for the future. And yes, I get out of breath easy. I'm out of shape. I'm out of practice. 6 years without a punching bag, 3 years without even shadow boxing at all. And now it's been about 3.5 months, and my power, at least, and my speed, as some of you have seen, is that when I'm warmed up, my power and speed are almost back to where they were. That's pretty good for only 3.5 months. So when I do boxing, I practice two different modes of footwork. I practice the lower down, and I'm trying to be more like a brawler, because I'm trying to gain weight, I'm trying to get stronger, thicken my bones, stuff like that. And then I've got the pressure slash outside fighter, where I use volume and movement, right? Now, it used to be I had zero hope of ever being a slugger because I was too thin. These arms were literally only 2/3 as thick as they are now, and these wrists were thinner than they are now, considerably. I used to be able to wrap my fingers like this all the way up here. My arms, this part have definitely gotten bigger, because the only exercise I've done is lift the occasional heavy stuff like I have to do for the family, or throwing punches. And something that I have a rule of, and that many pros and even some legends have actually had, is that when you're doing your training, it should be fun. You don't need to be focusing all the time on being maximum effective. I'm going to destroy this person, because then you get locked into a narrow mindset and a rigid routine that doesn't apply in every situation. When you're having fun, you're more creative, you think of more options, your visualization gets better. And that's another thing, is that if you're not really, really good at visualizing, you're pretty much going to need a coach with you every time you train, right? Because even if you recorded yourself and watched it, you still won't be able to visualize the opponent you were going against, and you still won't know how good you did against that opponent. But if you're really, really good at visualizing, there's a good chunk of your portion that you can safely do by yourself. Now, you should always look for feedback, especially from people who have higher experience than you. Definitely always record your stuff. Definitely do sparring. Definitely do drills. But there are going to be some parts that you can do by yourself. For example, mastering the technique of your striking, you can learn that by recording yourself, watching videos, and just correcting your mistakes, like the way I've gotten better the last 3 months. Still not exactly where I want to be, but I'm also not where you want me to be, and I'm never gonna. That's not what I'm going for. So when I do this, people say, oh, well, that's not pure boxing. Good. I'm not a boxer. I do use tags like boxing and combat sports, stuff like that, in my videos, because it's involved. It's part of the video, and tags are how you get more views. Now, I don't want to make any money, and I don't think I'm super talented, and I'm not trying to show off, because I'm really not all that great. But I do want views, especially because, for two reasons. One is I can reach people who are similar to me, and if they have similar disadvantages, I can give them strategies that help with specific situations. And then also, people will see what I'm working with, and anyone who's smart and observant and experienced is going to know what to tell me that will actually help, instead of just saying, oh, you're not doing this the way this other guy does it. Because that's not helpful. Thank goodness no one's trying to coach me on the peekaboo style, because that style's hard to pull off in the first place. But, so thank goodness on that. But I bet there's someone out there who thinks it's the only way that works, and they're probably teaching everyone to do it. Part of what makes someone a good coach is that they can recognize the strengths, weaknesses, and values of another person. It's not about how good they are at fighting. It's about how analytical and objective they are, and how deeply they can think, especially when it comes to motivation, fears, pride, And so I would honestly say I'm a much better coach than I am a fighter. but I don't consider myself a coach because I don't have any students that I'm coaching, and I haven't had any goal that I'm having them work towards. I don't have any accolades to show I know what I'm doing. But just because I'm not a coach and I'm not a sensei, by the way, I've never said it in any of my videos except for some joke ones where I'm making fun of the whole Bullshido thing. I've never claimed to be that guy, you know? And people just like to attach whatever they want because they project, you know? It's like I'm not allowed to have fun on my own channel saying some humorous stuff without people assuming that I'm a self-righteous D-bag. And, you know, that's fine, but it's your loss and not mine. And that's the point I'm trying to make. So I made this video so that I can have people go over it and come to terms with the fact that they just don't know who they're talking to or what about. You know, and something else I haven't mentioned, I mentioned before, but not in this video, is I'm currently 70 whole ass pounds heavier than I was before. So like, just right there, the fact I've only been doing it a couple months, just all your criticism just goes out the window automatically, just with that one detail. And a lot of people have criticized me on the times where I won't use my body to punch. That's valid. It's a valid punch. You can still knock someone out like this. You just have to hit him in the right spot at the right angle with the right force. You don't have to do everything all perfect every single time. Doesn't mean your chances are high, but it's possible. You can knock someone out like that, where I'm hardly even moving. I'm just standing still, rotating, still got a full kinetic chain. Or, like this, don't even need the full kinetic chain. Alright, well, I'm going to get started actually training a little bit, stuff that you're all not allowed to see.